Hey, it's Aly jumping in before the episode to let you know that Ear Coffee is celebrating 7 years of existence this September. Join us with Kate Melanerpes, Bugsy, Malomiko, and Melanerpes at the Cedar Cultural Center on Friday, September 6th. We're going to be throwing a great show. Tickets are available now at thecedar.org. $18 in advance or $23 day of. Once again, that is on Friday, September 6th at the Cedar Cultural Center. Find ticket links in the show notes or on any of our accounts. Today's episode, all 4 members of Melanerpes join me on the show. The punk quartet has hardly taken a break since releasing their debut record, Making a Meal of It, at the end of last year. They're a band best experienced live, but the record captures their energy and spirit, condensing it into hook-filled songs about growing up, finding yourself, shitty mayors, and more. While they were in the Ear Coffee basement, they recorded 3 songs, which you can watch on YouTube this Friday and after. Without any further ado, here's my interview with Sophia, Max, Juno, and Graham of Melanerpes on the Ear Coffee podcast. Let's start with some introductions. Names, what's your kind of primary role in the band? Any other pertinent information you feel compelled by the Holy Spirit, but not God or Jesus Christ, to share? And we can go from there.
I'm Graham. I play guitar, and I sometimes do vocals in Melanerpes.
I'm Sophia, and I play the other guitar, and I do a lot of singing and all of like the screaming in Melanerpes.
And the writing.
And the writing and the...
Up to this point, at least.
Yeah, up to this point.
I'm Max, and I play the drums.
I'm Juno, and I play bass for Melanerpes, and I also do background vocals.
Cool. I like to start interviews the same way, just kind of even-keeled. I found that basically everyone that makes, plays, engages with music in a level that brings you to a stage at the very least, and plays in a band, has had a long-standing personal relationship or just a connection with music even as a listener. And usually it starts with listening in some capacity. I'm curious if y'all have any distinct memories of when you first really kind of connected with music. It felt like something that was yours instead of just something that was like in the world.
When I was a kid, I used to live in Owatonna, and I
am so sorry.
No, it was fine. We moved when I was like 6.
Oh, I've just been there and it wasn't fun.
But it was, we'd have to take these drives from the cities down to Owatonna. I would be with my mom, and she would have these like, CD mixes of the radio rock she liked. And I remember, just really fucking with that. And like, kind of knowing right away that like, loud rock was like, I don't know. That's the music.
It wasn't just the songs or like the band. It was even just like the decibel level almost first and foremost.
Right.
No matter what, I want to make something loud. I want it to be loud.
Something in you, I feel like.
Exactly. Yeah, I'm in the back of the Ford Focus, like banging my like
Five Finger Death Punch or something like.
Like Five Finger Death Punch or like that one Puddle of Mud song.
Oh, God,
She Hates
Puddle
Me.
of Mud. Yeah. So it kind of started for me in like middle school, or I was listening to a lot of like kind of like blues-ish music, like just like Creedence Clearwater and just like random ass rock music like that. And it was kind of like the stepping stones for being like, oh, this is like, people just like, acoustic, electric, whatever. It's just kind of like the stepping stones of that. And like, I don't know.
Picking up a guitar.
Yeah. And just kind of got me started. And now,
For me, it was Gorillaz. I think that was the first artist that I ever had like I was truly into. And that started like in early high school for me. And what was really cool and compelling about that for me was the like multimedia, like art aspect. Like I'm an artist. I have a background in visual art. And so like seeing that melded with a music artist that was so experimental and so like across the board was really fun. And I got really excited. And my dad is a huge like record collector and had all the Gorillaz records. And so I had been hearing it for a while. And then one day it like clicked that was what I was listening to. And I got like super into it from there.
I couldn't say necessarily what my early memories of rock and roll are from childhood.
We're not talking genre here. It's just
I know.
whatever hooked you like a proverbial fish.
Everything's rock and roll.
Yeah.
That's so true.
I more so, my big connection with music started when I started like getting music scene-ish, which wasn't actually that long ago. Very early memory, earliest memory with that is one time Your Arms Are My Cocoon came to town and played at the Rose Club in St. Paul. But yeah, that was a very fun show. I got introduced to things I didn't know about then that I do now. It was like Grandma played, Twin Tomb played.
Ooh.
Very, very rare actually now.
Yeah. Very short set too.
Yes. Yeah, Hearts of Gold, whatever, blah, blah, blah. But that was I was kind of addicted since then. That was like probably late summer, like 2022. So very recent still. But that was the big catalyst of me actually listening to music, mostly local music.
Yeah. What were some of the, I guess, kind of going off of that, specifically with local music, even as, you started playing your instruments, started listening to music on a more widespread level as you get older. But what was kind of hook that got you into specifically local music and either made you want to be part of the scene, start going to shows, end up in a band, all those things that kind of end up in a weird tornado?
Yeah, I would say for me, the first local, this was like maybe the third local show I had gone to, but I saw Fend and Anita Velveeta and Bugsy at a house show. That was a crazy show at High Watt House. And that was the only show I've like ever heard about from High Watt House. They were really
pre-COVID.
Yeah.
And then they moved to Portland. Those are some of my dear friends.
And then they had that one show and then like never did another one. But that was so cool. And that was like when I first really felt the like, this is something I want to be a part of feeling. And Sophia was there.
Yeah, I showed up late.
Yeah.
We took a whole walk down Larpenter Avenue before showing up. I have a bit of a longer history with just like the local music scene. I was in a band in high school, but I didn't like come up to the city to see any shows. But I was like 15 when Greatest Hits by Remo Drive came out.
I'm just laughing because I was like 21. I was like, yeah, that was also a big one for me back in the day, and just because I feel like that was true for a lot of folks.
I think everybody really liked that record.
Yeah, aptly titled.
I don't agree. I really like the second record. But I know that's an unpopular opinion. But of local bands, you know what? There's none from that period I feel okay mentioning.
Common occurrence, unfortunately, for the little scene we got here.
But I really like Fend now. When I transitioned and wanted to get back into making music and like seeing music, I found Anita Velveeta's music, and it's just kind of.
Was it her solo stuff, or was it back in the Alien Book Club days?
The first album of hers I listened to was Christ, what is it called?
Motherhood?
No, the other one.
The dog one?
Biblically Accurate Persona.
Yeah.
And that really did change my life. And then like the last two albums came out and just like are just incredible. I never got super into Alien Book Club, but I really like ska. So what I have listened to I really liked. Anita Velveeta is super cool. Listening to her music kind of opened up a lot of like possibilities in my head for what I could sound like and the ways that like I could make music like as a woman in like a really gender affirming way.
Mm-hmm.
And every time I see Anita, every time I hear something new of hers, it's almost like it resets because it's just like, God, it's so like
keeps on doing new and different stuff.
She just keeps
nonstop.
doing shit you didn't know she could do. And yeah. Super important in my journey.
Yeah, for me, getting into the local scene was I used to go to a lot of First Ave and 7th Street shows like 2019, 2020. And like I remember just like like just like seeing a band that you liked and then just like a couple of people or a couple of bands opening for them that are from here, and it's like talent all around. It's just sort of like really nice to get into and just like dig deeper in. And that kind of put me onto it. But yeah, just going to like a lot of different venues around town and just like slowly figuring things out.
Catching the local openers at the very least.
Yeah.
When they're cool enough to have that.
Yeah, there was a AV Tear concert last year, and there was a band called Good Doom that opened, and they were amazing.
Shifting over to specifically Melanerpes, how did the band, as an entity, starting with your songwriting, since I know you started writing the album that we're about to talk about a few years ago, and was the debut project, but also just bringing everyone into the fold, because I know Max and Juno were at least involved in varying degrees in the creation, and Graham has been a more recent addition. So before we even dive into the record specifically, just kind of talk about how this little quartet we have in front of us came together.
Hell yeah. I started writing some songs when I was up at the University of Minnesota Duluth in a dorm room, and I was just the most miserable I'd ever been in my life. I wrote the first 3 songs on the record pretty much there. And then I always knew I wanted to like play them live, but it wasn't until like, I don't know, like around February of last year where I started I got Ableton and started like plotting some stuff out, and I had like written like a few other like kind of outlines of songs. I knew Max through like a mutual friend, and I had already known Juno because I was taking care of Juno's cat.
What's the cat's name?
Finn.
Certified toe stealer.
Absolutely. Worst roommate I've ever had. And then, yeah, because I knew Max played drums, and I knew Max was like really sick at drums. And Juno, I knew she played bass, and that she was also like wildly creative and like had super good like musical instincts. And I was like, well, these are the people I want. And then in February of this past year, I got an audio message from Graham Findell in a group chat we're in going, Sophia Green, can I please be in Melanerpes? And then I was asleep because I was like 2 a.m. as you were driving back home.
Yep.
And I responded, it was like a Monday morning.
Yeah.
I responded, I was like, oh.
You're serious about it.
Were you serious about that? But no, I was at the first Speed Limit 5 show that the other 3 folks on the couch with me were playing in. And I really connected with Graham's like style. Just just the noise of it all, and just like, yeah. I always kind of had in my head that like, you know, if Melanerpes is like looking for another guitarist, that like Graham's super high on my list. So when they
were you playing as, I know you've had some other just kind of folks just filling in, and just as you've played, and then obviously Abe, who we'll talk about more, played all over the record. But was there ever like a trio phase?
No.
As far as live, just always wanted to keep it with the second guitar, which
We've played as a trio.
We've done like 1 or 2, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
We've played 2 3-piece shows, both at Seward Cafe when Graham wasn't able to join us. But other than that, we played our first 2 shows with Mustafa, who was in the band. And then in between Mustafa and Graham, we played with Elena from Basketball Girls Card. Yeah.
Yeah, me and Juno were high school friends. We met in freshman year, and we were in a band called Speed Limit 5 that started in high school.
Oh, it started in high school.
Yeah,
Wow.
it did. We never did
Yeah.
anything with it until like last year, though. And then
must have
Graham joined.
Oh yeah. It must have been like late 2018, early 2019 that we started
2019.
practicing.
Yeah.
It was like all the time.
So Speed Limit 5 is kind of an old band, and me and Juno had already been playing music, and Graham as well. We had all been playing. I guess I'll just say there were like previous iterations of Melanerpes as well. But
Yeah, this is like the 3rd time I've pulled the ripcord on the Melanerpes lawnmower.
Yeah, but we can leave it at that.
So that, I guess, brings us pretty naturally to Making a Meal of It, the record that y'all released last December. and it's kind of, you mentioned this before, even when you started writing it up north and the germination of these songs started to happen, you weren't in the best mental place. I don't want to knock Duluth because I like Duluth, but
Oh, I love the beautiful city
great
of
physical
Duluth,
place,
Minnesota.
not a good mental place. So as you were forming these songs and starting to put them together, even before the band became an idea, and you want to take those next steps of recording, putting an album together, walk us through a little bit of that, just as you were, what you were kind of drawing from, what you wanted to get out, because we hear one thing as a listener and just want to see what it's looking like on both sides of the mirror, I suppose.
Yeah. I listened to a lot of Jeff Rosenstock while I was writing the record. A lot about the music industry too. I love everything Jeff's done. And just a lot of other like pop punk stuff. I knew that I wanted to, anything I did with music, it needed to be very emotional and like vulnerable, and also not like thoughtless. It's one thing to like make songs with like a big angry energy, but like if you're just kind of mouthing off, like that's not really what I was trying to go for.
The anger had to be a bit more intentional and maybe deeper than just anger.
Yeah, you can have your angry reaction, but then like that does have a consequence, and like, you know, like letting that anger or like that sadness or like the just like undescribable like frustration or whatever, like letting that fester isn't neutral. Like it's not done once it goes away. It has an effect on you after it's done. And I think that that's kind of what I wanted to write about, not any specific emotion or thing I was like doing, just more like the process of trying to get a little more healthy with how like
trying
just kind of trying and just like trying to be more intentional about like just like what I was thinking about, you know, like how dark I was letting myself get, and like the ways that I would like think about things that were like seriously bothering me wasn't helping at all.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that if that makes any sense, that's kind of, I don't know. I think making a meal of it, definitely, like just the process of doing it helped a lot of that, like I guess healing stuff.
Yeah, just laying it all out in a way that is a bit more like formulated. So just like this nebulous kind of mess of thoughts and emotions, just turmoil almost.
Right. And I knew I wanted the album to have a little bit of like an arc, a little bit of a narrative. I knew it was never going to be like a super long album, so I couldn't do like a big huge concept or anything, and I don't think I would have wanted to do that. But I think I was in theater when I was a kid, and I didn't do it for too long, and I didn't buy in 100%. But
That's safe.
I kept it super safe, super in the closet about it. Is that too real? Is that too real for podcast?
Yeah, we're anti-reality.
We're anti-real. Yeah, no earnestness on
no
the
being
ear coffee.
real. No one bees real anymore.
Yeah, and just like actually making a show out of the thing you're making, and not just like, it would have been cool if the album was a collection of 8 songs that all sounded good with each other. But I don't know. It was always about the story and the narrative and the arc for me. I knew before I had even like half of it written that like I'm going to tell a story with this record one way or another, and I'm going to figure out what the story is.
Yeah. Even without having like a prior awareness of that, like the first few songs, like those were some of the earliest ones you were writing, just like lyrically and kind of putting the skeletons together. That is where a lot of the anger kind of feels from, and just kind of dealing with just shitty people being shitty, and not to be too much of a cliche, but it's just like hurt people or whatever.
Yeah.
whatever
really.
whatever it says in the Bible, and really kind of excavating that, like you're saying, just
Yes.
not I'm just yelling at someone who wronged me or was treated me shittily, or just
Right.
the people that continue to treat you shittily because people just are shitty a lot of the time. But figuring out how you can feel about that, how you can move past it, and as you transition throughout the album, that kind of emotional palette starts to that your point of view starts to widen and become a little more all encompassing, as far as just kind of following that arc. Did that pretty much just like, was that something that you felt correlating as you were writing the rest of the record as well? Even you had the idea and the intent, but as you know, you went through life changes, moved, changed, all these things.
Absolutely.
Yeah. How those things symbiotically feed each other?
Right. So the first 3 songs on the record I kind of see as like outbursts, as really like
That's a good word for it. Yeah.
emotional and like pretty unfair to the people I'm writing about. And I think that it's okay to have that on the record, but I also need to like sort of like I can't just do that. It's like, what happens after that? The story doesn't end with you just being mad. And I think that as the record kind of goes on, I try to like, and this was kind of when I was a bit older, a little later in the process of like trying to write songs that actually like keeping that same vulnerability and keeping the same like emotion, but actually trying to like laser into what was really bothering me. Like, just kind of a little bit of like trauma over some like, I had a family member that had like a really scary health incident when I was like, 16, and like I transgender, shout out transgender people. And so like transitioning and like also like living in Minneapolis in 2020 and like getting radicalized from like just how dog shit the neoliberal governance in this city is.
How can one witness everything that happened and not be radicalized unless you're consciously opting out, basically?
Right. So if you've got all that going on, is it like, okay, so is this relationship from 4 years really what's bugging you? Or is that just what like feels like justified and that you can talk about?
And enough time has passed that I can yell about this and feel okay about it.
Right.
But what's the fire actually fueling the yelling? The anger?
Exactly. That's exactly it. And so I think that was kind of the contrast I wanted to do there. And then I think that whole thing falls apart when you have Hog's theme at the end, because what's the story with that?
100%. Yeah, making a meal of it on top of just being a title track, which being a title track always has a bit of baggage. Baggage has a negative connotation, but
luggage.
It's luggage that you opted in to bring, and you just fully all your stuff and your toothbrush and everything.
This was the meal that you made.
yeah. This was the meal, and you're kind of almost like relishing it instead of just letting it happen to you almost, and just like kind of passively watching everything. I'm engaging. I'm stepping into it because that's almost like my job. That's what I have to do.
Right. Yeah. I've been on mood stabilizers the whole time I've written this album, and kind of part of making a meal of it was like, we're gonna feel it. Like
unstable mood time.
Making that title track, it's like, sometimes you just like gotta honor your emotion when you get it, and like crash out, make a meal out of it.
Have to do.
I crashed my car into a bridge.
I don't care.
I don't.
I love it.
I love car crashes. David Cronenberg,
I've been talking a lot. I'm gonna give this to Graham.
I mean, you also wrote the damn album.
Yeah.
So I think we were all anticipating this, Sophia. No, Graham's just talking about the lyrics, just newest members. Like,
I know.
I really wrote.
I know everything. Yeah.
Yeah.
I really.
As a resident
stop.
psychic, it's kind of upsetting.
Yeah.
I can't even do that shit. With the music and with recording, Abe Anderson, probably the goat of Minnesota, if you will.
That's what I'm saying.
Fact.
Not only just recorded and mixed and played all over it, but just even played the drums on the record. So kind of opening it up, getting everyone a chance to talk. Coming into the fold as either someone like learning the parts, learning the songs, and then engaging with them and kind of making them your own, and just engaging with that as kind of someone who's stepping in from the almost kind of from the outside, not from very far, since you played bass on the record, and you were just kind of there.
I was hanging out. I was like
you were
playing
chilling
games on my phone.
You were there.
I was like, I wasn't there the entire
Tweeting.
time for recording, but I was like, yeah, we just got a resident big chiller, and that's huge. That rules.
I did do gang vocals on Never
yeah.
Gonna Happen, but other than that, there's like this awesome picture of me in like a golden ratio posture, like hunched over, and I think that
you were doing it.
yeah.
my God.
And that really encapsulates like my role on the record or in that studio that day at least.
But moving beyond the studio as fans, people that have now spent time with the record, spent time with the songs, and play it live whenever y'all go out and play live. What has that been like? How is that? What do you try to bring to it as an individual musician? Since you're playing your guitars, drums, not everyone's the same, and you have your own specific sensibilities, your specific history with your instrument that you're bringing to it, and some of that feels a little bit unconscious, I'm sure.
Yeah.
But yeah,
You want to start?
I don't know if you know that was a fucking question.
You're good.
Well, I'll follow with what might be an answer. I feel almost like an obligation is there's baggage with that. There's
We're all going on a flight.
I feel like I come at it definitely from a different point of view with these songs, considering I didn't write most of the guitar parts. Well, at least for most of our songs so far. And I do very much like making them my own. Like I don't really come from like a pop punky background as much as Sophia has, obviously. But just kind of infiltrating this band and forcing my own flavor into it has just been so fun.
The graham sauce.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah, it's kind of been entertaining, not to see what like I can get away with, but seeing what Sophia agrees with sometimes.
Yeah, you still want to be like respectful and understand just like the parts that you are coming in to play, the structure, the riffs, while also.
Yep.
Yeah, and I like, and a lot of the bass lines that were for the album Sophia also wrote. So it was like coming into that, it was like, it was like starting kind of fresh on a brand new concept, and it was really nice, but it was also like at first it was kind of hard to associate myself with the songwriting, or not associate myself, but like to be a part of someone else's songwriting.
Yeah.
And I think that's just like the beauty of being in a band sometimes, is like even if someone else is doing the writing, it's like you get to all be a part of that. It's like all the band Melanerpes, and
that's just like the first step. You're stepping across the threshold.
Yeah, it's like Sophia literally laid out the groundwork for it, and now we all get to collab on that.
We get to tear it down. We get to ruin it.
Yeah.
Incredible.
Ashes.
Yeah. I feel like the drums have a really cool story because those were sort of written by Sophia and sort of written by me, and it kind of varies from song to song. There were like demo versions that I sort of learned the structure of and then added my own like sauce. I know Sophia always really emphasized like wanting to bring as many of my fills into it as possible because I love doing fills, and that was something that she like really placed emphasis on when we were like starting to like put it together for a live set. Like yeah. Sorry.
We took away your mic, Sophia.
Sorry, we're getting silly. But then I would say that like it sort of evolved like I added some elements to the way that the drums were written on the demos, and then the record got made, and then Abe did drums that were sort of based off my interpretation of the demos and also sort of Abe's interpretation of the demos.
Yeah.
So it evolved into this cool kind of like half and half structure.
Almost like a game of telephone.
Yeah,
Just like-
totally.
with someone who one of the people doesn't play drums, and that's a cool part of it.
That is cool. But then I would say that I've taken, like, Abe did some really genius stuff on the record, like stuff that I never would have thought of. And so I've definitely incorporated some of that into how I play the songs live. But then I've also like made note of like what's fun to do live and like what gets reactions. Like I think we start like a crowd clap during North American Megafauna that just kind of happened spontaneously, but now it's like,
I know my
You just know Sophia's
Yeah.
hands are gonna go straight up in a little.
you just know.
Please clap.
Yeah.
Big Jeb.
Yeah, I'm TCDO DIY Jeb Bush.
Give her the mic. Give her the mic. She needs to say it again.
Punishable by death.
That's crazy.
Do I need to say that? in
Yeah,
the
say that
microphone?
again. Say that again. Run that back.
I'm Twin Cities DIY Jeb Bush. If he was
Clipped.
transgender and a woman.
That would be awesome.
You're saying he's not?
Come on now.
me this for the first time.
Yeah.
Does
This,
Jeb
this-
Bush have T-boy swag?
A bit.
Jeb Bush has T-boy swag.
I think the Jeb boots are T-boy swag, like with the embroidered
You know,
Jeb on the boots.
What kind of MF just puts their campaign slogan as their name with an exclamation point if they don't have T-boy swag?
That shit's sick. Like it's awesome. But yeah,
Like,
the
I
drums.
picked this name. I'm proud of it.
If you see this crowd interaction in your band, run.
Yeah. Please clap.
I want to say one more thing.
Yeah,
I
go
don't know.
nuts.
Were you done?
Basically, I was just gonna say the drums have evolved in my opinion, a really interesting way.
No,
That's
that
so
that-
true.
I'm obviously thank you for all of you talking about that. I did not know that specifically. That's really cool. That's just doesn't happen. I feel like just having like there's almost like 4 phases or something, like 3 or 4 phases of just the drums coming together, starting with Sophia, going to you, going back to Abe, and going back now, landed in your hands.
I think there's also kind of maybe obvious is that like Melanerpes, the recorded project, and Melanerpes, the live band, I knew they were always going to be different like products in a sense, that like you were going to be getting a different thing if you turned on the record than if you saw us live. And I think that I don't know, I think that lends itself really well to like kind of our style. Like I didn't rush the album. I wrote it at the pace I was gonna write it. But there was definitely a sense of like, I need to get this out by the end of the year just so I have something that I've made. And that needed to happen. But it, you know, there is times now where it's like, well, we actually play this part in a way that I think's cooler.
Yeah.
And it's like a little tough sometimes, but I don't know. I think that like, I would be kind of bored if we just played the songs live just how they are on the record, you know?
You know, like almost like if you had sheet music or like a perfect
Yeah.
like tab chart or something.
Yeah,
Right, exactly.
I feel like everyone's like creative embellishments just kind of like went on very progressively, like as we kept doing them live, and it's like now it's like we have that live groove of how we play things, and it's like you want to listen to the blueprints basically. You could listen to
Yeah.
the album. And it's like
Yeah.
I like
And
that.
as you continue to play together, just either in any formation, but especially as like a now a slightly more solid group, it seems that lends itself to to that progression even more so.
Right.
For sure.
I wouldn't want to be like too high concept about it, but like in a sense, when we're playing live, I think of like the songs more as like rituals and more like we are starting the North American megafauna ritual, and it might not sound like the song, and we're gonna it gives a new opportunity every time to not just like replicate a product for an audience, but to more make like an experience.
Yeah, it's not, you're not doing the ambient musician shit where they just like hit play on their MacBook and you're like, yo,
Hit play and pray.
Yeah, I'm not doing it like
yeah.
that.
To be fair, William Basinski did do that.
Yeah.
And I was like, yo, the gay cowboy did the thing. So if you did, there is precedent, and it would be potentially hard as fuck.
Shit.
But only if it's ambient music. If it's anything else.
And only if I'm a gay cowboy about it.
You could be.
Well, I'm not, that part's more, you know, you don't got to put on a cowboy hat or anything. The gay part doesn't.
But you could.
You could. Specifically thinking, again, kind of what you've all been able to bring to your specific roles in the band. Just not even just moving forward as you presumably continue to work on music and just keep rocking gigs, but even as just a musician playing in any other project in any other capacity, what is something that you, I guess, value about your own specific approach that you can bring to, or that you want to bring, I guess, in once, like something you're kind of striving towards? And if you can maybe one day, like, or hopefully some point, listen back and be like, yes, I feel that sense of accomplishment. But it's something you're always kind of hoping to bring, beyond just the fact that it's, it's like, hey, I played those drums, I played that guitar line. It's just what is going on behind your eyes.
Yeah.
In your head. I could just say in your head.
I guess I could start. My biggest drumming inspiration originally was actually like Aphex Twin. Like I really I was really into like electronic, like, like just crazy garbled glitchy drums. And what really caught me about that was how drums were like at the front of the composition, if that makes sense. Like drums were really kind of doing their own thing and more than just like holding the structure of the song together, but like they were like they had like flourish to them. They had like, complexity to them. And so that's always something that I've wanted to try and bring. I wouldn't necessarily say my drumming in Melanerpes sounds like Aphex Twin, but that's like another
that's
band.
That's 100% what I'm asking. Like,
yeah.
It doesn't have like, I sound like this, or like, it's that unconscious inspiration that you want to, that undercurrent that kind of fuels you as a musician.
I would also say the band Toe is a really good example of what I'm talking about. Like just really, really great, complex, like interesting drum parts that like carry the movement of the song in ways that you don't really hear in other like more conventionally structured stuff. So I would definitely say like, I don't know how much I'm going to move in that direction for like Melanerpes specifically, because it is like, it's rock music. I think it would sound odd with toe drums on it, but like, I think that's always
use your hands.
Yeah,
Fucked up.
Usually, not always.
Fucked up.
Hey, that'd be impressive. Like monkey shit.
It'd be crazy, but that's usually the energy I'm trying to bring when I like work on my drums and like try to add my own elements to things. As I'm always trying to keep that kind of like complexity and that like intrigue in mind.
Keep it unexpected.
Yeah, exactly.
In whatever kind of fits the song or the style. Though it would be kind of crazy if you just like some Aphex Twin sounding drums.
It'd be nuts.
Over like making a meal of it or something.
It could happen. You never know.
IDM remix when?
Be sick.
1 year anniversary.
Yeah,
We gotta get going on
that'd
that.
be sick.
God.
For me, let me think. I like, what's it called?
Bass.
Yeah.
Sorry.
No, you're good. When I first started doing bass in Melanerpes, it kind of opened me to a different perspective of playing bass, because it was obviously a lot more like punk pop driven, but also like it was the habit of starting to play bass while also doing vocals, and also just getting into a different type of style altogether, because I normally played like no wave experimental rock sort of stuff. Like we've always done stuff with Speed Limit 5, like very like all over the place.
You haven't really been like playing with a pick until Melanerpes, is that correct?
Exactly. Yeah. Like ever since we played with a pick, it was like kind of life changing, because I would be like, I would love playing with my fingers, and it was like at the end of the gigs, I'm like, damn, my hangnail is like 2 inches, like giant cut right here. And I'm like, yeah, that'll do it.
All right.
But yeah, I got it.
I would just give a brief interjection. I also think Melanerpes has like really helped me with like structure. Like coming from the background of like Speed Limit 5, which was very like sort of like loosely structured and
A different way of being all about the noise. Like the loudness and the noisiness of it is still such an integral part, but just, very different from something more like punk and emo influenced or something.
Totally.
Kind of more from anything experimental, no wave, just structure, hardly lower.
Yeah.
And also the garden, like Wyatt Shears really got me into like playing bass in the first place. Like I bought my first bass in 2019 because I listened to Mirror Might Steal Your Charm like all the time.
Yep.
It was so good.
Yeah, the garden's cool. The garden's an influence for me as well.
I would say big. I don't really have any. Well, I do have influences. That's stupid to say, but I really
have to be like born from like an influence necessarily, but just how you've kind of ambiently absorbed things and they have now come out
I really
in Norway.
I really enjoy like kind of
Graham sauce, as we said.
Yeah, exactly. playing with like tension, like actual just like musical tension and like almost auditory jump scares in a way.
Yeah.
Big fan of that. I like the like acoustics of stuff. Like I like when you could hear like a pick hit the strings. Yeah, I'm not like, that's another thing. It's like a lot of pop funk is just kind of like, this is a distorted guitar, but I kind of like nasty or like more visceral stuff. Don't stick your tongue out at me, Max. We're logging that just because you did that. I don't care.
There's already been so much.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I like that. Even though I don't really put it into the music a lot, like free improv stuff, especially like percussion. That's super cool to me, and I try to kind of bring an energy similar to that to guitar. Just kind of more recently, especially with the tension aspect, like post-hardcore music has been huge for me. Like bringing that to Melanerpes has kind of been interesting.
Unwound ass.
Yeah, you know about it.
For many years, I've had a guitar sound in my head of how I just think guitar should sound. That's not neutral. That's, I could probably move past that. But in the closest I've heard like a band get to it is in the song Promise Everything by Basement, the Run for Cover version, not the Fueled by Ramen version.
Those like different mixes or something?
They completely re-recorded my favorite song when they signed with Fueled by Ramen and made it the deluxe version. And they pretty much gutted everything that I loved about it. But you can still listen to it. And just like that beginning riff, just that super like huge but not in the room guitar sound, and then just like everything joins, and it's just like it's you're just dragging it off like the back of the truck through the mud. Like that's just the sound I love, and I'm always trying to find ways to get huge like that. The next Melanerpes music is going to be like screamier and like a little heavier, a little more like scrams, a little more kind of
making Hog's theme a little bit more like kind of a genre interstitial, because that's the odd child of the album a little bit. So in a way that I very much like.
Whatever happens next will definitely be more collaborative, obviously.
Right.
Obvious reasons.
Well,
it's going to show.
Exactly. We're going to play a lot more of like what is going to just feel fun to play, either just as the four of us or like with a crowd. And I think that's all. Like, I'm really excited for what the next Melanerpes songs are going to be, that we haven't written yet. But I think that what I always come back to are just really like verses where it's like the rhythm is almost just like trudging along. It just nothing like sharp, not like palm muting, just like, I don't know, just like in the rhythm, almost like synchronized swimming, if that makes sense. Like just kind of a parade of sound that gets to the chorus, and then the chorus is like, I love a chorus where you can't help but like bang your head or like, just really like just huge choruses. Those are the staples of like, when I write a song, that's what feels good to play. When I listen to a song, that's what I like to hear. If that makes any sense.
Just to keep our sanity in, because it's almost 11 o'clock. Let's move into what is the future Melanerpes looking like? Obviously, gigging, thinking ahead, just as you start to work on new music, and is that there's a formula, but what's kind of going on in all your heads as you move into that phase, since it's now been at least been a few months since the records come out, so you've hopefully had time to sit with it, celebrate it, and continue to play the songs and then grow them in ways beyond just the recorded editions, which will, as we were just talking about, will influence where things take you next.
Right. Well, yeah, I mean, we'd only played one show before we went in the studio, and then another one before the record came out. So like in 2024, I think the message I sent was that I wanted to go turbo mode with gigs, quote turbo mode.
Yeah.
And we kind of have been. We've played like, what was it, 12 or 13 gigs this year
A lot
so
of
far,
gigs.
and that's
A lot
only
of
like
shows.
half of what we have booked for the year so
It's
far.
been like 2 or 3 every month so far.
Yeah.
We've got one tomorrow. We've got one next week.
Really, yeah. And so that's like, stop it. I'm gonna find what I was going to say. Oh yeah, I felt it was like super important to like get the chemistry, just kind of like almost go through the routine, go through the motions a little bit of like playing shows together, get comfortable with it.
Playing shit ass basement shows just to get yourselves out there. Get just the act of playing a show is as a baseline is already such an important step. Just doing that, whether it's like the show you're super excited about, the show you're just playing because you're honoring your commitment and you're. You know, that
That would
that's always
never
the
happen
spectrum.
with Melanerpes. We only take gigs that we're really into.
And that we make a lot of money off of.
We make a ton of
This
fucking
band is
money.
extremely
Things that no
profitable.
one has
We are
ever
rich
said.
as hell.
Anyway,
Lying aside,
the next, I don't know when the next Melanerpes record happens. And I don't know
I
really
ain't asking
what.
for a release date. Don't worry.
Right, but I it's just what I think about with like the future of it. We don't have a practice space right now, but when we do, the idea is that we practice more and we will like actually write songs together. And I don't know. I'd love to just. I want to be like a really prolific with making music. It's. I don't like saying it's the only thing I like to do because that's not true. And if it were true, like putting all of my time into it wouldn't be super healthy. But it is my favorite thing in the world. And it's so fulfilling to either play a show or just practice. And making a record is like a whole nother level of that. And I definitely want to. The next record's going to be completely collaborative. Like I'm not interested in writing songs, and
Running
then-
in your bedroom in Duluth anymore.
Yeah.
We've moved well past that.
Right. I don't really want to like bring songs that like, you know, here's the demo. None of you have heard any of this, and now like here's how you play it.
Learn the part. Yeah.
Right. I think we're done with that. And what's really exciting is that like we could go anywhere. You know, like it could be scrams, it could be like hardcore, it could be Cheap Trick,
Ambient music.
it could be ambient emo music. I don't know. It's all very exciting.
It's an open door
Yeah.
as opposed to a closed door.
I'm going to do some shout outs
let's do
now.
shout-outs.
I'm going to do some shout outs now on the podcast. You got it tuned to Ear Coffee. My name is Sophie, and these are my shout outs for Twin Cities DIY. First, it's Anita Velveeta.
Who?
Just the best. Just my goat forever. Hey, what are y'all doing? They're doing like hand gestures.
What have any of us been doing since the minute we all sat down? I can speak for myself in that I don't know.
Make sure to rate this 5 stars on iTunes and
I'm like
subscribe
Kurt.
to the
Fuck you,
Ear
Kurt.
Coffee Patreon.
You hear this? I'm still thinking.
And
about
then shout out to the band Jenny Matrix. Super tight pop punk that I've been really into lately. Shout out every band Elena's in. I'm gonna rattle them off here. Basketball Divorce Court, Hot Bagel, Slut Intent, Slog, Gridlick. I think those are the only ones I should say
that exist currently.
that exist currently.
Is,
Public domain.
The haters will sabotage.
I don't want to.
I'm gonna FOIA.
Yeah, you're gonna. And then shout out to Allergen. Our friend Shannon celebrating their EP today.
Yeah.
That dates the podcast. Shit.
No, the fact that
Oh, shit, we're gonna
the
miss
fact
it.
that Sophia, Joe, multiple people like stupid. Why'd you book a session for the same day as the EP? I'm like, I didn't. Oh, and that's called that's on not having a calendar. But
That's
shout
not
out.
having a calendar.
But what I want to say is that Allergen EP is incredible.
It rocks.
Absolutely
Another
incredible.
Abe production too.
Yes. Shannon knocked it out of the fucking park. Everybody in Allergen knocked it out of the park with that one. And then my last shout out is Forrest Frog Warper on Instagram, who did our design for our T-shirt and our sticker.
Among other cool things.
That's all they've done for us, but they've done a lot of merch for like Anita, I know, and they're like a tattoo artist.
Yeah,
they
really
do
cool visual
all kinds of really, really cool shit that you gotta fucking get with the program on. You wanna go?
Yeah. Huge shout out to Rigel Luna, who's another member of Speed Limit 5, Nathan. He has his solo project, and shout out to Haroon, shout out to Linus, another great shoegazy band. Yeah, Haroon is amazing too. Love their music.
Need a Haroon album or something.
So true.
So bad.
So true.
Do you want to go or should I? Go for it. Okay. I would shout out music. I think that shit's pretty dope.
Fuck you.
No, I would shout out Fend. I think they're my favorite local band. They're really cool. Everyone in that band is like crazy talented and also funny. Like they're all just like great to interact with. Like they're all dope.
I'm laughing because it's true.
I would shout out June Moon. That's someone who's been really integral in like the kind of punk side of things in the Twin Cities.
Huge
And
for us, like
hosted our first ever show as Speed Limit 5, and then hosted another more recent show with Speed Limit 5 and Melanerpes. First time we've ever been those two bands have ever been on a bill together, which is kind of crazy. But June's a longtime family friend, really, really cool person, just like altruistic and sweet and like just fantastic. I really love June, and I love the space that she's given for us. Similarly, Seward Cafe, they've just been great about hosting us. They're such a cool organization. Shout out Seward forever.
5 or 6 times that Melanerpes have played there.
Like 6. It's going to be more too.
I think it's 5, and we've got 2 more on
Incredible.
Yeah.
That rocks so hard.
Yeah. We should start a residency at Seward Cafe. And then When the Dust Settles, that's a band we've been playing with a lot recently. They're cool. Everyone in that band's a chiller.
Kind people.
They just
New EP's
released
great.
a cool
Lovely
EP
Germany.
that is very good. I can't wait to hear what comes out from them next. And then my last shout out is Mustafa, our former bandmate. Awesome guy. Shout out Guy
Shout out
Phone.
Staff,
He just
in general.
graduated.
Dude just
Let's go.
graduated. That's huge.
Yeah, enormous.
Huge moves for Unk.
W's for Staff.
You also
That's Twin
just
Cities Tower.
graduated.
I also just
Nice
graduated.
job.
Yeah. Thank you. I'm not shouting myself out.
I'm shouting you out.
Thank you, Sophia.
Shout out
Sophia.
Shout out Sophia.
Fuck up.
Yeah, Mustafa's too dope. Yeah, Guy Phone's awesome. Go listen to Guy Phone. Great ambient experimental music. Good shit.
Shows how much of a fake friend I am. I forgot about Guy Phone. I was just
Guy
like,
Phone,
I'm like, just shout out Staff in general.
Yeah.
The guy
Also
phone
makes
calling.
music.
The Guy Phone
Oh,
calling.
will
Will you
you
answer?
When it rings, will you pick up?
I know when that guy phone rings. That can only mean one
Staff
thing.
and Cat have been having that guy phone ring. So
Yeah.
we'll see what happens.
Guy Phone's been ringing.
It's just on you to pick it up.
Will you answer?
That's all for me.
Nice people in the music scene. The people in Mold. Charlie, Jack, and Miriam. I just want to say my name because they're all cool people and they make really cool music.
Yeah.
They just got back from tour.
They
Crazy.
did.
Yeah.
New Confusion,
Yup.
one of my favorite local acts. Both of those two are just like incredible. The folks at Malamiko gave me individually a shout out at the end of their podcast that came out just recently, and I just want to extend.
What's the name of that program?
Oh, the name of the project is called Woodbine,
Yeah.
and it's
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what's going to happen with that, but thank you to Reese for singling me out. I, however, will not be reciprocating the love. I actually hate every member of Malamiko.
Personally.
Yeah,
Cap.
Yeah.
no, it's on site with all of them.
Yeah.
And then Xochitl De La Luna is essentially my Minneapolis music scene mother.
Yep.
Been huge in actually making me not be a little weirdo in my shell. Instead, I'm just a weirdo now.
Huge steps.
Yeah.
Making money moves.
I played with Ice Climber very early, more than with Speedlit 5 in the initial days of both that band.
You were playing a lot of Ice Climber back in the day.
Yeah, and that was huge for me in becoming a confident individual on stage and also just becoming good at socializing with musicians, which is also...
Which you don't even have to be good at to make
It's
cool
quite
music.
easy because they're all also weirdos.
Exactly. But they're all really cool weirdos. Best weirdos.
So true.
Yeah, those are local music scene people that I wanted to connect.
I've also been listening to a lot of the band Dreamwell, Awake But Still in Bed, and very recently REM. I love.
Wait, were you
Scram's
also
music.
actually singing Stand when I started singing Stand earlier?
Yeah.
Oh fuck yeah! I wasn't sure. I was like, wait, did you?
It's amazing how REM made 5 very good records and then went back to back to back to back with Green, Out of Time, Automatic for the People, and Monster.
They basically made 20 years of good records.
They made 20 years of good records in like 6 years.
We covered Driver 8 at our first Melanerpes show.
God,
That's some niche. That's niche.
That is.
That goes hard.
That was like my killer song I could cover. So I thought it was just like, we could get 4 minutes in the set here doing this, and it was just the worst shit.
Yeah, shout out local band REM.
Shout out local band REM from Athens, Minnesota.
Michael Stipe, I'm available.
I actually saw
tomorrow
Mike
night.
at Cafetto the other day.
We saw someone at Cafetto. We saw.
We'll go to. He will go to Cafetto. And again, so would I. Anyways,
Rather,
rallying real quick here.
Intellectual individual. Yeah.
No more laughter.
No more laughter.
None
Are
of
we
that.
are we talking about what we're listening to lately?
No, I just wanted
No.
to.
No.
No.
I mean,
He just kind of started talking about REM, and I just got
Yeah.
excited because I also love REM.
Yeah.
Where can people find you? Not your addresses. People always think that that's what I mean. It's not what I mean.
Can I say something and you just bleep it?
I mean, I'll bleep it anyways.
I was going to say my home address.
Yeah. I was just like, don't make me work for this. I don't have to find a bleep noise again.
you
cut
can
off, like,
you can find us at Graham's home. No,
You sure can.
we're on all of the streaming services that DistroKid will let you put your music on for the just above basic plan. So I don't know which of those they are, but if you use Spotify or Apple Music or is it Deezer or
Yeah,
Tidal.
Deezer,
or-
Tidal, Beatport, CD Baby.
CD baby.
All them.
we got it all up on there.
Gay cowboy.
Got on buying can.
Gay, yeah. I turned into the gay cowboy for the last few minutes here. We're back. So we're on Spotify and stuff, and we're also on SoundCloud and Bandcamp. You can give us money
Don't
for the
go on
record.
SoundCloud. You gotta listen to ads for that shit. Nah.
Really?
Yeah, SoundCloud kind of fell
Unless
off.
you pay for the.
blows.
Unfortunately.
Is it called Go still? SoundCloud Go?
Yeah, yep.
And-
I,
and
I listened to an 03 Greedo album the other day, and I just kept on putting fucking ads in the middle. So just go from like just that to just like, and this is the Facebook moment of the day, and you're like, fucking what the hell?
About like the classic like my middle school days where I was on SoundCloud only because I wouldn't pay for streaming services because I didn't have money.
Groove Shark, baby.
It was just like-
YTMP3. Yes, Groove Shark.
I'm dating myself as a 27-year-old.
It was like they just have it like slightly pitched up or something. It was just incredible. I was like the like Travis Scott Days Before Rodeo.
Oh my
on
God.
there.
Oh, I used to use Groove Shark to download like Monster Cat EDM and just random
Yup.
shit.
No, I
Yeah.
listened to so much Dead Mouse on
Yeah.
fucking Groove Shark back when the 8th grade.
Yeah.
So you can find Melanerpes on all of those platforms. And if you don't want to engage with the platforms, I could send you the Google Drive folder if you send a message to @Melanerpes MPLS on Twitter or @Melanerpes.mpls on Instagram.
If you just type in Melanerpes, it'll probably come.
If you look up Melanerpes on anything but Google, will probably come up. If you look up Melanerpes on Google, you'll find a bunch of cool birds, a lot of really cool
probably a
woodpeckers.
No,
use of your time.
Yeah.
The music made.
Learn a lot about the
That's not an knock
Melanerpine
against
woodpecker
Melanerpes.
right
That's
now.
just like a statement in favor of birds.
We love
Pro
birds in
birds.
this band.
Go birds.
Thank you so much for having us again, Allie.
Yeah.
Thank you
Oh
for
God.
having us.
I don't even know if it was better this time. There were just more.
I think it was a lot better. I don't
think it
feel
was
like an
better.
idiot this time.
I feel like an idiot. Not in a derogatory way, but just this was a very silly episode.
I love silly episodes.
You have been listening to the Ear Coffee Podcast. If you like what you heard, please rate, review, and share so we can stand out against the sea of other music podcasts. You can find information and other important links including tickets for our upcoming birthday show, in the show notes of this episode. If you would like to support us, please consider subscribing on Patreon for early access to live sessions and other bonus content. You can also subscribe to our Substack for a regular newsletter with reviews, ramblings, and anything else we have to say. Thank you for listening, and we'll see you next time.